Allan. Let me set this up by saying, Allan knew that there was going to be a reception. I didn't ask him ahead of time if he wanted one. I think you learned about it, what, in the paper?
Yes.
Okay.
Good journalism.
Yes, yes. So I didn't bother to ask his opinion, and he didn't know about this, because I did the one thing that I knew he'd never see. I put it on Facebook. And so I knew I could post anything I wanted to, and Allan Tucker would never see it. And I purposely didn't tell Jeffrey or Jane what was going on, plausible deniability. So if you get mad, huh?
You think we'd have laughed?
As I say, plausible deniability. I have to give this one story though. I got to meet this guy almost 40 years ago. Now, it's hard to believe I'm only 25, so, you know, if you do the math. I met him the first time as my 5th grade music teacher. And at the same time, my sister was singing with you in the madrigals, and so I saw him up singing, and he was so cool. You know, he had such a loud voice, it was so deep. My goal was to sing loud like Allan, and I think I've done pretty good at that. And I wanted to be a bass. I did not do good at that. But I just thought Allan was the coolest guy out there. My friends had heroes like Arnold Schwarzenegger and Sylvester Stallone and Michael Jordan. Not me, boy howdy. My hero was Allan Tucker. 40 years later, we have sung a bunch of songs together. We've traveled a ton of miles, smoked a few things together. Most of my bad habits, not that smoking. Get your mind out of the gutter. And I've really gotten to know Allan. And after 40 years, my heroes are now Arnold Schwarzenegger. And no, truly, Allan, this whole thing this evening, I could stand up here for 2 hours just by myself and talk about what you've meant to me. And if I could do that for 2 hours, most of the people in this room could do that for 2 hours. And then if we open it up to people who are watching the live stream and people who you have influenced, we'd be here a while. So the next few minutes are our way of saying thank you, not just for council, but you put in a lot of years to the city and this community. So this tonight is a way for us to give a small token to say thank you. Feel free. Nobody else had a hand in this but me. A few months ago, I was talking to Allan Dressler, and I told him, I said, I really want to do something for Tucker at his reception, because we always do this when councilmen retire. And I had no idea what I was going to do. I just knew we were going to do something. Then I was in the hospital on narcotics, and it all came into focus. It was crystal clear. So this might be more of a fever dream, Tucker, but we've got a few people that are going to speak. We're going to do a few things. For you, buddy. First of all, Mayor Tom Seibold, where are you at? There he is. A few words.
I wanted to get up here and get this in my hand before we started, but David was too quick on us.
I was ready.
Allan, I want to thank you for the time you served on City Council. We've served together. Most of that time, I may have a few more months on you, but not many. We've traveled back and forth to Richmond countless times. Felt like we were always successful in our endeavors down there and helped the city of Covington as best we could. I know that you've served Covington well, you've served the educational system well, and I appreciate all you've done. Terry Austin wanted to be here tonight, but he wasn't able to make it, but he did send a commendation from the House of Delegates for you, and I'm going to read that and I'll present it to you. The House of Delegates of the Commonwealth of Virginia hereby offers sincerest congratulations to Allan Tucker in recognition of his years of service as an educator and as a city council member. And this is offered by Delegate Terry Austin on November 30th, 2022.
Wow, I started on time. We need to remember that when we start the meeting here in a little bit. And he actually did a few words. Next up, Allan Dressler. Covington City Manager.
Y'all please excuse me, this is Tanner. He and I go back a long ways. He's a dedicated Green Bay Packer fan like his pawpaw and I am. And he actually told me a little bit ago he was a Virginia Tech fan in a UVA family. So we're raising him the right way. Anyway, we're here to celebrate pawpaw tonight. I go back a little more than 40 years. When did you start Covington High School? 1976. Taught BB how to sing. BB was part of one of your first choirs and madrigals and all those wonderful things. And folks don't realize this. His involvement with kids from 76 throughout. He coached sports throughout. He served us children well. And when you speak of hero, yeah, we all looked up to Mr. Tucker and all the things that you meant to us kids. And then as our years go by, here we are together managing the city. You have represented the city of Covington extremely well, your constituents extremely well, and we appreciate your time and dedication to local government. Finally, I need to mention this young lady right here. There's not too many Janes in this world that have Bookie and Allens and Bookie and Green Bay Packer fans. So she is, I'm not afraid to tell you, you know, I love you, appreciate it. And even though you've told me December 31st wraps you up, not quite yet, because I'm going to, well, thanks to these guys, I think I got to stick around a little bit longer. So, but anyway, we're in it together. A big shout out to Richard Douglas. Thanks for coming up tonight. I know what Allan meant to you. And you have a dear friend back there, Mr. Tucker. Thanks a lot of you. So with all that being said, I guess at the count of 1, 2, 3, go pawpaw. Mm-hmm. All right.
1, 2, 3, go pawpaw.
At this time, representing the Allegheny County Board of Supervisors, Mr. Matt Gardner.
And they make me go last, so all the good stuff's already said. Mr. Tucker, I know what it takes to be an elected official and the time it takes to be up here. But my thanks is to you as a teacher and more of a figure in the high schools and what you brought to the youth in terms of culture and the arts. Thanks to you, I now know every word to Les Mis, the Phantom, Rent, Oklahoma, and a lot more my wife didn't want me to sing in the house. But you offered kids a chance for exposure to New York City, to plays, to things that they wouldn't otherwise get. I hope that we can see that in the future because I cherish those memories, and I know a lot of other people do. I can't go a Christmas season without, wassail, wassail, wassail. So the Madrigals was one of my, best experiences in high school, and I'm certain there's other people that think the same thing. But my music career didn't start with you. I have to give credit to Jane and Pat. The first 4.5 years of my life were spent in their nursery school, and they nurtured about, 30 kids a year. I know with the patience she has, she can probably endure you now all the time without getting up here. So it's a pleasure. Thank you, sir. Thank you for everything you've done.
And I do want to say one thing. I had somebody come up to me a little while ago and they said, "Don't you think Allan is going to get mad at you for picking on him?" Let me tell you a story about what he did to me in New York. And you probably know the story I'm getting ready to tell. After I graduated high school, I became Allan's professional chaperone. Just about every trip you went on, he found a place for me, and I went along, and we roomed together, and I kind of did what I could. A lot of times when we would go to things like Disney, he would take the front of the line, I would bring up the rear and herd the cats through. So, and I don't remember the year, but we had gone to New York, taken the kids to the United Nations. And he knows where I'm going. So, I am a large man. I mean, I'll just admit it. I am a large dude. I was even larger then. Went into the, and it probably wasn't the best idea, but it was cold and rainy because it was April. I had a long black coat on. I was bringing up the rear. He had already gone through, and everybody was going through the metal detectors. Well, I go through the metal detector, and it beeps. So I go out and take all my stuff out. I go back through, and it beeps. So I take my coat off. I go back through, and it beeps. I start taking clothes off. Truly. Am I lying?
No, he's not.
It got to the point I barely had pants on. And finally I go through and it beeps again. And it's very large. Made me look small. Very large security guard comes over with the wand business. And he gets up to my behind. And I looked up at him and I said, "Buns of steel." I almost got the rubber glove. But I looked over at the wall, and I thought he was going to have to excuse himself. He was not coming to offer any kind of moral support to me. He was getting ready for somebody to go to a deep cavity search and just let me take it. And he was enjoying it. So don't think that he will not get me back for this. I knew you'd enjoy that one.
Oh, yeah.
Come up here for a minute, buddy.
Remember that well?
I've got a couple of more things. This is from Covington City Council and the City of Covington. A proclamation of respect, honoring the contributions of Allan Tucker to the betterment of the City of Covington, its residents and children, and of the entire Allegheny Highlands region. Whereas on December 31st, 2022, Allan Tucker will conclude his tenure on Covington City Council after 9 years of service as a representative of District 2. And whereas Allan was appointed to Covington City Council on Tuesday, September 10th, 2013, to fill an unexpired term. And whereas he won re-election to full terms on council in 2014 and 2018, and announced in 2022 he would not seek re-election. And whereas during his 9 years on Covington City Council, don't pay attention to that. Pay no attention to the man behind the curtain. During his 9 years on Covington City Council, Allan was an integral component of the continued efforts being made to strengthen the city's fiscal and financial stability and planning for the future. And whereas Allan consistently served as an advocate for the needs of city employees and the best interest of the region's school children. And whereas prior to his service on Covington City Council, beginning in 1976, Allan served as a teacher and mentored generations of Covington school children over his 31-year career as an educator in the Covington City public school system. And whereas Allan's legacy continues to be felt by his former students, who send him their love and gratitude from across the Commonwealth of Virginia and nationwide. And now therefore be it resolved that the Council of the City of Covington expresses its deepest appreciation to Allan Tucker for the decades he has spent mentoring and inspiring school children as an educator, and his service to the citizens of the City of Covington as a member of Covington City Council. And be it further resolved that the Council of the City of Covington does hereby proclaim Wednesday, December 14th, 2022 as Allan Tucker Day in the City of Covington, recognizing and honoring the rich legacy of service and dedication Allan has selflessly given to all residents of the Allegheny Highlands. Presented this 13th day of December 2022 by the members of Covington City Council. Okay, we got one more thing. Don't go, you might want to give that to Jane right now. Yeah, trust me, Tucker. Yeah, come here. Come here. While I was laid up with these narcotics, you remember the movie Mr. Holland's Opus?
Yes.
If you've never seen the movie, it was a 90s movie. High school music teacher. As he's retiring, his former students come back and they perform one of his selections. We were going to sing one of yours, but we couldn't read your handwriting. So, but there was a song, and if you ever went through the madrigals, probably for, and it's not Baby,
I know.
for the 30 years you did that, you sang this song. So I put the word out on Facebook, and I send texts, and I send emails, and we've got some folks here. Y'all come on up. Singers, come on. And what we want you to do this evening, yep, we would like you, we have not practiced, but we would like for you to lead us in singing this one more time. If you need music,
I'm an outfit. Okay.
Y'all get in here. Get on up here. Come on, Miss Chris.
And I will say one thing, this is a very appropriate song. You can catch that in the title, it's called Christmas in a Small Town.